So, air conditioning doesn't work on this beautiful Z3M. It's a very beautiful car and I'm privileged to work on it. Well, this is a really nice treat for me. I love my classics, as you know. And the air conditioning doesn't work apparently. And also it's flashing oil pressure warning. That's not good, is it? In fact, it's quite catastrophic. And I actually repaired this car a few years ago. The Vanos seals were leaking, the double Vanos seals. So let's get it in and see what we can do with it. Well, this is an old school system, dead easy really. So you've got a button and you've got a clutch compressor, so we can see that dead easy, can't we? We don't need any diagnostic tools to diagnose this. If it's low on gas, we'll check it, but let's just check if the compressor clutch is working before we do anything else. That's the first thing and easiest thing we can check if we don't have any tools. Feels cold, but then again it's 14 degrees outside. Let's check that out before we do anything. Got some live data here now, and we can see air conditioning system if it's active or not active. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and start the engine now, and I'm going to see if it works or not. So it's active, so it's allowing it to start actually, but now it's saying air conditioning compressor's not active. Ah, now it's active. Well, it wasn't really active before, I can tell you. Air conditioning compressor, air conditioning system active. Okay, so now it's working. Need to see if the compressor's actually kicked in. Could be an intermittent fault, this. Right, so essentially there is no IHK, there's no ICA, there's nothing like that. It's all manually controlled. The only live data I could see pretty much essentially was in the engine ECU, the DME, and from there we can see that we've got a switch activation, we've got a compressor activation. So whatever relay system, I'd have to look at wiring diagram, is involved. Basically it's switching it. So next thing is dead simple. We're going to get the power probe, we're going to plug it in, I'm going to go under the car, send it up in here, and we're going to actually check if there's a voltage feed to the compressor clutch. If we've got a voltage feed, we're probably looking at a knackered clutch. If we've got a voltage feed and we're not looking at a knackered clutch, we might be looking at a broken wire with, you know, inside that module, inside that compressor unit. Now I probably could fix that, but the time it'll take ain't really worth it, so we'll just recommend a new compressor. So let's do that now. If we've got voltage, we've got a ground, and it's not sticking, it's not turning, it's knackered. If we manually do it and it doesn't work, it's knackered. Don't forget we might have voltage, 12 volts, we could have a voltage drop. Might not really be 12 volts, might be resistance in wire, in which case if we loaded it with an halogen bulb it might drop to 5 or 6 volts. So if you've got 12 volts it might not be 12 volts. But let's just not speculate, let's just check it out, yeah? So it's a relatively straightforward issue. It was making and breaking and it's actually come off in my hands. So what I need to do, I've took my gloves off, I'll have to undo the ground, then I have to take this metal bracket off, and I'm going to have to crimp a new connector on and make a new harness connector completely. That was the second problem. The main problem is the plug is so like sort of rubbish and old. It was kind of making and breaking really in the old bullet connector. So I'm going to have to strip that now and try and make it good really. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to put this on the low and put this on the high, and before I screw it in, we're going to make sure everything's all on proper, which it is, and then we'll look at the gauges, and as you can see, there's no pressure there. Once we get this to the point where it's screwed in, if there's any pressure, which there is, it's just shot up there now. So is there enough pressure? That's the question. Probably not. So we now need to, in my opinion, the best thing to do is to see if there's any fault codes, but we can always suck out the refrigerant. Well, that's cycling quite nicely, isn't it? So that's an easy fix, just a bad connector after all that. But you don't know that when they buried it in guts of the engine, do you? You don't know what the air conditioning quantity is. If the pressure sensor isn't working because there's no gas in the system, it won't switch anyway, so it's the same result. So it's got a fresh charge, bit of fresh pag oil and a new switch. We'll just make it good now and build it up, and it's bye-bye. Alright, final test. Damn, 5.5 degrees. Actually, I can get it as low as 4.6. That is fixed.